NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bringing your latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. Okay, let's dive right in, because like always, it's been a long time since my last NetsBoy episode, because blah, 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 NetsBoy busy, yada, yada, yada. Every single intro to NetsBoy has gone the same way. Anyway, so let's look at the Nets here the last few weeks, because it's been about 2 or 3 weeks since my last episode. And the Nets are currently 8-13. And they've looked good at times. They've gotten very solid performances from Spencer Dinwiddie, playing for D'Angelo Russell, who had to have arthroscopic surgery on his knee and will be out at least another couple of weeks. Maybe a little bit longer. There's no real timetable for his return. But Dinwiddie has been phenomenal as that point guard. And I think we're seeing why the Nets liked him so much last year. The fact that they waived Yogi Ferrell to bring him in last year made you wonder, what are they doing? But we're seeing what he's capable of, Spencer Dinwiddie. And I like him, and I think that he's proven to be a legit point guard in this league. I wouldn't go out there and say that he should always be a starter, but he's definitely, to me, a solid backup point guard who can be a starter if needed. Kind of like the way Jarrett Jack was a couple years ago. To me, Jarrett Jack was always a bench player, a backup point guard, but had the skill set and the ability to be a spot starter if needed. And that's what I see from Dinwiddie, and I think he's proven that right now. Whitehead had a really solid game against the Rockets, though he's still extremely inconsistent. Trevor Booker has been very, very good. He basically won the game for them the other night against the Mavericks with all his energy plays. Hollis-Jefferson has looked really good of late offensively, though he's been hurt. The whole team's been banged up. There's been a lot of injuries. DeMarre Carroll had some kind of situation, respiratory infection. Joe Harris had some injuries. Alan Crabb is dealing with injuries. This whole team, though, keeps dealing with injuries, and it makes you wonder, what exactly would this team be like if they didn't have all these injuries? I mean, Quincy Ace had some injuries early on. Everybody, Jared Allen had some injury. Everyone keeps on getting hurt on this team, and I think it just once again shows you the depth of this team. Because if you were going to tell me Jeremy Lin will be out for the year, D'Angelo Russell was going to miss extended period of time, and people like Trevor Booker and Alan Crabb and DeMarre Carroll and players of that magnitude were going to miss some significant time with injuries or starts here and there. Same thing with Ronnie Hollis-Jefferson. I would have told you this team would be lucky to have 4 wins. Instead, they're 8-13, and I think that once again shows you just how deep this team is. The next man up is what they say, and it's true with this team. And it just makes you wonder, how good could this team be when fully healthy? Like, what would this team look like when D'Angelo Russell comes back? When you get a full 100% DeMarre Carroll, Alan Crabb back? What is this team going to look like then? We can't really speculate on what this team will look like with or without Jeremy Lin, because they're not going to have Lin all year. So it's kind of also makes you wonder, well, what would this team look like if Lin was healthy? But at the same time, you also need to understand, if Lin was healthy, you wouldn't see this type of productivity from Spencer Dinwiddie or any of the guys really, because it's kind of like that next man up option thing that we're talking about. When one player is hurt, other people step up. So you can't say Dinwiddie would be this 15-point a game, 7-assist guy if Jeremy Lin was still playing. Heck, he wouldn't probably be that guy if D'Angelo Russell was still playing right now. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just make that type of speculation. But what you can do is just kind of wonder, how would this team look if fully healthy? You would assume that, especially with D'Angelo Russell healthy, that the Nets probably could have won another couple games down the stretch. The game against the Blazers, they really lacked a go-to player down the stretch in that game, and they lost. I think D'Angelo Russell would have helped them win that game. And then a few other games, maybe early on in the season against the Jazz, one of those losses that they had, they could have won one of those games. I know they beat the Jazz last time they played them, but before that, maybe if they had D'Angelo Russell or a fully healthy team then, who knows? So I think this team is showing that they are a really solid team. And are they a playoff team? I still don't know. I don't think they really are. I think they are a better team than last year. I think they're not a bottom team. I think they're not in the bottom five. I think the Mavericks, the Hawks, the Bulls, the Suns, and the Kings are all teams that are worse than the Nets. I think those five teams are definitely the bottom five. But is this Nets team a top 8 team in the East? I don't think so. I think that they're like the 10th team, best team in the East. I think there's too many teams that are really better than them. But hey, the season's still young. But it just makes you wonder what this team could be. So I personally think this team is overachieving, believe it or not. And I know people will be like, "What are you talking about, Nets boy? They're 8-13." To me, they're overachieving with the amount of injuries that they had, losing Jeremy Lin at the beginning of the year, D'Angelo Russell being out for an extended period of time, and all the injuries, and the fact that there was a lot of question marks with this team. I think 8-13 is overachieving right now. I really would not have expected it. Like I said, if you would have told me what's happening with the injuries, I would think they would have maybe 5 wins right now. Instead, they've got 8. So they're overachieving, and I'm ecstatic. You know, they play hard, they play well, they have a decent offense. They are actually second in the league, or third in the league, excuse me, I think in points per game, only behind the Warriors and Cavs. Or something like that's ridiculous. They're terrible defensively though. They're the second worst team defensively, but they're a very good offensive team. And I just think that if they can get the defense straightened out and get fully healthy, then we can really see what this team is. That being said, they are what they are, and everyone deals with injuries. And so I think an 8-13 record is very good for where they've been and how they've been. You know, I will take 8-13 at this point. You know. We'll see moving forward. The health of players coming back. Who knows exactly who's going to come back, when they're going to come back, and how they're going to be. But, you know, I've said this before. There's not one player on this Nets team that I don't like. I mean, maybe Mozgov. He's pretty useless. I love the way that, Atkinson barely even playing him right now. Actually, he could be hurt. I don't even know, to be honest. I just haven't seen him play in a while, and I haven't been following up on the injury reports. But either way, I love Tyler Zeller. He's looked phenomenal. I had said before that when the Nets signed him, that was a great pickup because that's a guy. He used to be a starter with the Celtics, and he's a solid big. Him and Jared Allen as the two bigs, I really like that. And I really like this rotation that Atkinson is doing, playing the combination of players that he's playing. I think it's a really good combo, and just makes you get excited for when D'Angelo Russell comes back, Russell comes back with the way Dinwiddie's playing now, and Crabbe and Joe Harris and Rondé Hollis-Jefferson and Zeller. They're a good team. They definitely need to improve offensively, but they got some good players that could really mesh well. And it actually gets me really excited because it makes me realize that this Nets team could be, and I'm just getting a little ahead of myself, but listen, they could be a legit team in a couple years if they can get one or two other star players. Like, the Nets are legitimately, in my opinion, a star player or two away from being a pedestrian team to being a championship team. And I firmly believe that. I'm a huge advocate of the Nets bringing back Brook Lopez next year. I've said that in a few other episodes. I don't know if that's really possible. I don't know if they're going to have the financial capabilities to bring in back Lopez, nor do I even know if Lopez would want to come back, or if the Nets even are thinking about bringing back Lopez, because let's be honest, excuse me, as much as we love Brook Lopez, the Nets really don't need him. They didn't need him. They're getting great quality minutes from Tyler Zeller and Jared Allen. They're still scoring the basketball. They still have a little bit of a low post presence with Trevor Booker. He's been able to be a low post guy. They have an offensive flow. It's not like this team's not scoring. They're the third best offensive team in the league. So would Lopez have helped them defensively? I think so. I think Lopez is a better defensive player than Tyler Zeller. Is he better than Jared Allen? I don't think so. I think Allen has more potential defensively than Lopez. But, as much as I want Brook Lopez to be back on the Nets, you're seeing this team is not bad without him. And, of course, I still would love the Nets to bring him back next year. I'm not bring him back, but, bring him back for next year. I think that would be great. The Nets brought back Brook Lopez next year with the team they have now with D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, the way Rondé Hollis-Jefferson is playing, Alan Crabbe, Tamari Carroll, all those guys. and you plugged them back in, and they played off of all those guys, or everyone played off of him, and I think this Nets team would go from a borderline playoff team to a legit playoff team. And then if you can bring in one more player, now what position, I don't know, maybe the shooting guard position, because that's the one thing that kind of lacked, because I don't really buy Alan Crabb as a starter. I'm going to be honest. I think he's a good player, but I don't buy him as a starter. I do buy Rondae Hollis-Jefferson as a starter. I do buy, DeMarre Carroll as a starter and D'Angelo Russell. I think if you can improve on the shooting guard position next year as well. You brought in Lopez and you brought in another shooting guard. That team would be great. But once again, I'm getting way ahead of myself. The truth is, I don't even think they're going to go that route. I think they're going to build with the team that they have now. LeVert could be that shooting guard. I think this Nets team has a bright future ahead of them, and you're seeing the potential with the depth. So once again, I got a little ahead of myself. But then again, I get excited. I think about these things, and I think that it would be really neat if Brook Lopez came back with this team. Beside the point. Anyway, let's look at the next few games moving forward. Because let's wrap up this video. I'm getting carried away. So they got the Hawks, home and home against the Hawks on Saturday and Monday. Those are both games the Nets should win. The Hawks are one of the worst teams in the NBA. If you're the Nets, you've got to take advantage of the teams that you can beat, and that's definitely two very winnable games. Then they got the Thunder on Thursday. That's probably a loss, but you never know because this Nets team plays hard. And then they have the Heat on that Saturday. The Heat are a team the Nets could definitely beat, but to me, the Heat are the same type of team as the Nets. Kind of a pedestrian team. And then they got the Wizards after that, so that'll probably be a loss. But if you look at these next 5 games, the Nets could definitely go 3-2. And that's what I'm going to expect them to go. I think anything less than 3-2 the next 5 games will be a little bit of a disappointment the way this team's playing. Who knows, especially if they start getting healthy, if they get players back like Alan Crabb and the full health of Trevor Booker and DeMarre Carroll. Though those guys are pretty good. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. Those guys all come back. I think this team could be really solid. Like I said, we haven't really heard much from D'Angelo Russell. When is he going to be back? The way I look at it with him, they're not going to rush him back because Dinwiddie has played so well. I think you're not going to see D'Angelo Russell back until January, to be honest. So I think that's probably what you're going to see from him. But, we'll see moving forward. What's going to happen with this team? And like I said, overall, I've been pretty pleased. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you guys feel about this Nets team. If you think that they're overachieving like I do, how much you like this depth. What do you think of some of the performance of some of the players? And if you really want to go off of what I did on my little tangent, let me know what you think about what type of players perhaps the Nets could use in the future to make this team go from pedestrian to playoff to possibly championship contender. So keep your eyes open to the latest NetsBoy. And until then, this is NetsBoy signing off.